and welcome to our Drew Peterson trial special. I'm Lourdes Duarte. The defense rests. It means this case could be over soon today. What could be considered a win for the prosecution without having to really do a thing. Also, Drew's son took the stand. We're going to break all that down for you tonight. We'll be here to take your comments, your questions throughout the show. Remember, our phone lines are open at 877-358-CLTV, 877-358-2588. First, though, Marcella Raymond. Marcella.
Hey, Lourdes, it was a defense strategy that most people I have talked to feel backfired completely. Defense attorneys and prosecutors have been arguing in motions in front of Judge Burmilla for about a week now over Kathleen Savio's divorce attorney, Harry Smith. Well, Smith finally took the stand today, but for the defense, and his testimony, we feel actually helped the prosecution more. Also on the stand, Drew Peterson's oldest son, who said that he doesn't believe his dad did anything wrong and that he is a good guy. 19-year-old Thomas Peterson looked at his father and smiled as he took the stand late this afternoon. Drew Peterson leaned over and listened intently to his testimony. Tom was asked by defense attorney Joel Brodsky if he ever thought his father killed his mother. He replied, quote, "I had not once suspected that." He called Peterson a quote-unquote good guy. Tom said he believes his father is innocent. But the witness before him painted a very different picture when he testified about Tom Peterson's stepmother, Stacey Peterson. Stacey Peterson, the elephant in the courtroom this whole trial, came alive through the testimony of Harry Smith, Kathleen Savio's divorce attorney. Smith was initially a witness for the state. Today, he took the stand for the defense and was quickly declared a hostile witness by Judge Edward Burmilla. You could feel the tension in the courtroom.
I think that my contemplation would have been that the things that I had to offer were going to be developed through the state's case in chief, and that's not how this has gone.
Bomb after bomb was dropped. Just days before she disappeared, Stacey Peterson called Smith to retain him. She wanted to divorce Drew and leave the state with their young children, Anthony and Lacey, and Kathleen Savio's kids, Tom and Chris. Stacey told Smith she had information about Kathleen Savio. Smith, quote, "She wanted to know if, in my opinion, the fact that he killed Kathy could be used against him in divorce proceedings," end quote. Smith said Stacey said, quote, "Could we get more money out of Drew if we threatened to tell the police about how he killed Kathy?"
The bottom line was there was some interest in trying to use information she had about Drew to get advantage in the divorce case, for sure.
But the glaring part of the testimony supported what Stacey Peterson told her pastor Neil Shorey months before she disappeared, that Drew killed Kathleen. Because of that, Brodsky tried to dirty up Stacey, making her look like she was money hungry. He asked Smith if he told Stacey she could be arrested for extortion. This is where it backfired. Smith said no. Brodsky, what could she be arrested for? Smith, concealing a homicide. Smith also told jurors that Stacey thought Drew was having her followed. He called to her twice during their conversation and asked what she was doing and who she was talking to.
I thought that she was probably in a much more precarious situation than she was acting as she was.
And as soon as Harry Smith heard that Stacey Peterson was missing, he called police. That was about a day and a half after he last spoke to her. Now, Lourdes, we've been talking for weeks now about this, and not once have I seen State's Attorney Jim Glasgow even crack a smile. He is holds his words, his thoughts, feelings close to the vest, doesn't really say a whole lot. But today, I swear he had a little smile on his face after this testimony.
I don't doubt it, Marcella. And like you mentioned, a lot of people questioning why bring Harry Smith up to testify on behalf of the defense. Like you mentioned, a lot of people saying that was a bad idea. So I'm wondering which attorney decided or thought that this was going to play in their favor. Are they getting along? Are they talking about this? Do any of them disagree with the decision made today?
Yeah, I think they disagree all the time, Lourdes. I mean, there is not a whole lot of love lost between these defense attorneys. We always see them arguing. We hear them saying kind of snide comments about each other behind each other's backs. And I know that this really was Joel Brodsky. He thought that by bringing in this testimony that Stacey was essentially trying to extort Drew to get a leg up in the divorce would wipe out Neil Shorey's testimony and wipe out the fact that she also told Harry Smith that he killed Kathleen, and it just didn't have that impact. It just really did not. And one of the attorneys was in the overflow room when Brodsky was doing this, and he said, we're screwed, pretty much, because they knew it was at that moment that it just was not going to work for them.
So Brodsky and Greenberg not best friends. Neither is Joe Lopez. All of them, they're not getting along. They're not playing nice.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know, it's been going on. It's been going on for the whole trial. So it's no. We just never really have talked about it. But yeah, it's clear that there's not a whole lot of love lost between them. But I do, you know, Joel Brodsky is the lead attorney, so I know he's making, you know, more of the decisions. And this was his decision to do this, and we all just kind of believed it backfired. But you know, the defense came out, and in their usual form, they defended their actions. But this was vehemently because they came out, you know, gloves off, arms swinging. They were like, you know, we did this, and this is why we did this, and it had the effect on the jury and all that kind of stuff. And we just sometimes scratch our heads and go, you know what, were you in the same courtroom that we were in? But it just, you know, again, it all depends on what the jury sees. And there could be those jurors who say, look, she was an unsavory character, and she was trying to get money from Drew, and so therefore she's lying about this whole Kathleen thing.
Okay, I want to ask you one last thing before you go, Marcella. You mentioned to me that there was a kind of a mystery woman today in the courtroom who actually went up to the defense. What was that about?
Yeah, it was really interesting because we do these midday sort of noon press conferences every day, and it's always Pam Bosco, Stacey Peterson's friend, is there, and the defense attorneys are there, so we kind of talk about the morning. And all of a sudden this woman starts saying, well, what about Christopher Peterson? And because we were talking about Tom Peterson testifying. Christopher Peterson and the Christmas card he sent to Drew in jail, or not in jail, but he sent to his dad and said, all I want for Christmas is for you to divorce my mom and to make everything go away and make everything happy. And so we're like, okay, who's this? And they quickly left the mics, and she apparently was friends with Drew Peterson, she and her husband, 10 to 15 years ago. Well, they came back into the picture after Stacey was missing, and the state police asked them to wear wires and to videotape Drew Peterson because they were trying to catch him in you know, what he did with Stacey, because he, of course, is the prime suspect in her disappearance. So she had a lot of contact with him. They lived in the same house for quite a while, for 7 months it was. And so she said that he is absolutely the person who killed Kathleen, and she believes he killed Stacey as well. And she says those kids were just little kids, but he was verbally abusive. This is all coming from her, but he was verbally abusive. He was very controlling, you know, so there's all that question then, well, why was Tom Peterson saying he came voluntarily? Who knows?
Interesting. Okay.
You know, who knows? But she believed that he would be lying on the stand.
Yeah, just to clarify, Marcella, this person, this mystery woman today, was not somebody who testified in this case, either for the defense or the prosecution. This is just somebody who
she's
showed up.
Actually, I mean, she would be called to testify for Stacey Peterson if that ever went to trial.
Okay, thank you so much, Marcella Raymond, live for us tonight in Joliet. Now, the defense rests this afternoon, as we mentioned, but not before calling these two key witnesses, how one hurt their case and now how another could help set Drew Peterson free. Criminal defense lawyer Gal Pisetsky helping us sort all this out after the break. Stay with us.